Hello everyone, welcome my YouTube channel. Breaking news. In the Joint Forces Operation Area, Ukrainian troops repel 16 enemy attacks. The Joint Forces Task Forces, JFTF, continue to conduct a defense operation in a certain area of responsibility in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. According to the JFTF press service, all over the defense line, the enemy is using combat aviation, multiple launch rocket systems, cannon artillery, tanks, mortar systems, launching missile and airstrikes on civil infrastructure facilities, peaceful residential areas. Russian invaders have shelled 46 settlements in Donetsk region and Luhansk region. A total of 68 civilian objects were damaged and destroyed, including 43 residential houses, 2 schools, architectural lyceum, nursery school, clothing factory, railway station, cultural hall, boiler facility, power substation. Ukrainian military repulsed 16 enemy attacks in the area of responsibility. Ukrainian defenders destroyed the following enemy armored vehicles: 8 enemy tanks, 6 special armored vehicles, 17 armored fighting vehicles, 6 automobile vehicles. In addition, air defense units shot down 1 Su-34 fighter-bomber aircraft in the skies of Kharkiv Oblast. Ukraine's General Staff Operational Report: Ukrainian forces liberate a village. Ukrainian counter-offensive activities in the Kharkiv region continue. Today, Ukrainian forces managed to liberate Dementivka. Meanwhile, Russians don't give up on their unsuccessful attempts to advance in Donbass. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has released new operational update on the situation on the Ukrainian front lines as of 1800 on May 18, 2022. Here are the key points of the report. Russians continue their offensive operations in the eastern operational zone. The occupiers shell the entire line of contact and in the rear of the Ukrainian defense, mostly in the Donetsk operational area and Sloviansk direction. In the Kharkiv direction, the invaders tried to launch a counterattack against Ukrainian forces in order to reclaim previously occupied positions. The Ukrainian advance resulted in another settlement being liberated. Dementivka village is free from occupation. Russians continue engineering defensive lines in the Bryansk and Kursk regions of the Russian Federation. They also use UAVs for reconnaissance and detecting Ukrainian advance routes, artillery positions and unit locations. Build up stocks of ammunition and equipment in the Kursk region. The threat from Belarusian forces stationed near the Ukrainian border remains at least until May 21, when the second stage of the military drills ends according to the schedule. General Staff confirmed the information about the rallies held on May 16 to 17 in the occupied Luhansk and Ravenki cities. The protests were launched spontaneously by the relatives of the mobilized citizens who are fighting on the Russian side in Ukraine. The main demand of the protesters is to get the servicemen back home. The quantity of involved in the rallies is about 700 people, according to the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine. Russian forces launched an offensive in Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Kharkov directions. Donbass, eastern Ukraine, had no success. A few settlements of the northern Chernihiv and Sumy regions were shelled by the Russian artillery and mortars in the Severia direction. The shelling of Ukrainian positions without active assault continues also in a number of other operational directions in southern and southeastern regions. Russia's Terminator tank support vehicle spot again in Luhansk Oblast. The Armed Forces of Ukraine ready to fight back. The Armed Forces of Ukraine are ready to test another Russia's Wunderwaffe on the battlefield. Ukraine's fighters will soon be able to stress test Russia's defense industry, novelty, Terminator, or possibly to get it as a trophy. Thus, a few days ago there was a video leaked on the internet, see above, with this armored vehicle. It was noted that the enemy had already sent their BMPT Terminator to Ukraine. However, the location and time of filming were unknown, so possibly the video with Terminators was uploaded by the Russians themselves. At the same time, the 72nd Separate Mechanized Brigade of Ukraine uploaded new videos and photos of BMPT Terminator. The post states that the column of these vehicles was spotted again in Luhansk Oblast. In addition, there's a store inscription in Ukrainian visible in the photo, which is evidence that these vehicles are exactly in Ukraine. Defense Express reminds, Russia's military-industrial complex spent 19 years on development of this weapon. Only in the end of 2021 8 units of BMPT Terminator came into service of the 90th Tank Division. Ukrainian Defense Forces will get several Alvis APC from Estonia according to the Twitter, on Ukrainian border saw the 7 Alvis 4 APC. More evidence of curious supplies to UA forces this time we can see 7x Alvis 4 APC, UK-made version of the South African Mamba. According to our information they were used by Estonian forces after refurbishment, then given to Ukraine. They are generally well regarded, said on Twitter. The Alvis 4 APC Mamba is designed for internal security purposes during the late 1980s to replace the Bofel in service with the South African military and security forces. The first models were built on a 4x2 Toyota Dyna chassis, which was subsequently replaced in production around 1994 by a more reliable Unimog chassis. All marks of the Mamba were designed to be mine-resistant and blast-proof. First batch of Estonia-donated Javelin missiles arrive in Ukraine. Estonia delivered the first batch of US-made Javelin anti-tank weapons systems to Ukraine by Ukrainian military and 26 transport aircraft. The systems had previously been in Estonian Defense Forces, EDF, use, as EDF's commander Lieutenant General Martin Herem said, Estonian source Air News reports. Lieutenant General Martin Herem, commander of the Estonian Defense Forces, EDF, said, "This is a small step by Estonia in support of Ukraine, but it is a real and tangible contribution to defense against Russian aggression. At the moment, these missiles are more useful for Estonia's security in defense of Ukraine rather than at a live firing exercise on an Estonian training area," Herem added. The systems had previously been in EDF use. Estonia's ambassador to Ukraine Kaimo Kuusk announced this event on Twitter too. "Just delivering Javelin anti-tank missiles from Estonia to our Ukrainian friends," Kuusk wrote. Estonia did not disclose the number of Javelin missiles. Earlier, Kuusk said that it was a significant number of missiles. In his turn, Ukraine's Minister of Defense Alexei Reznikov wrote on social media that the country appreciates the support from its friends. "We see we aren't alone," he wrote. "Today we got Javelins from our friends, neighbors and partners, Estonia." Estonian Defense Forces had been using Javelins since 2015. Although deliveries of Javelins to Estonia took place as recently as 2020, the system has been largely superseded by Israeli-made Spike SR, 500 of which arrived in country last month. A Javelin is a shoulder-operated, portable, medium-range fire-and-forget anti-tank missile system made in the US. They have an effective range of around 2 kilometers. As Defense Express reported, amid threat of Russia's invasion, Ukrainian security and defense forces training feature the newly received weaponry from NATO partners, Javelin and NLAW anti-tank missile systems, Stinger missile system, and more. Units of the armed forces of Ukraine are conducting tactical and special exercises in preparation for repelling a conventional enemy trying to break through the defenses in the tank and airborne hazardous areas. The drills take place amid the escalation of the conflict in Eastern Europe, as Russia is concentrating estimately half its military force near the border of Ukraine, in Belarus, and in the temporarily occupied areas of Ukraine. The Ukrainian forces stay strong, with the top military leaders being sure, the armed forces of Ukraine are absolutely ready to repel any aggressor. Good day to everyone.